What's up everyone, Alan Morrow here and welcome to today's video. In today's video I'm going to show you an acid sound that I've just introduced into one of my tracks, so I thought it'd be interesting for you to see the thought process behind it, and also some tips and tricks that you can do to sort of make your acids a little bit more kind of interesting throughout your track. So if you'd like to hit that subscribe and notification bell if you are looking for tips and tricks like this, and if you'd like to support the channel you can do that over at alanmorrowstudios.com, where there is plenty of sound designed tutorials as well as acid sound banks for Spire and Silence. There might be some more depending on when you're watching this video. But anyway, let's get into the video. Okay, so this is the track. I've just built this acid sound. So I'll let you have a little listen to it first. Okay, cool. So it's not completely finished or completely mixed in yet. I'm still at the process of just sort of creating and getting that sort of sound design sort of done for it. But I want to talk you through exactly how it's kind of created and how it's kind of got that kind of movement to it and stuff. So what I started off with here is a quarter pulse. And what I've done is I've dropped it down a couple of octaves and I've got the retrigger on. It's got quite a bit of stereo width to it, as you can see here. Now, what I've done is I've then sent it through to a bandpass filter. And what I've wanted to do is I want this bandpass filter to basically sweep through the frequency ranges. So I've got the resonance up quite high here. What else we've got? I've got a bit of drive in there. Quite steep slope on the filter because I don't want too much of that low and high coming through. And then I've set the cutoff. Now, what I wanted to do is kind of give it that sort of like movement to it is I've come over to the LFO. And I've set the wave here in the LFO as sample and hold. So basically what it's going to do is going to get the cutoff. It's going to kind of go up and down and hold in those places depending on the time signature. Now I've chose eighth notes here, and we'll have a little listen to it again just on its own. You might also notice that the volumes on these are switching up and down, and I'll talk you through that in a minute. So what I've got here is these notes. So as this hits, this cutoff is kind of going up and down and holding in different places in eighth notes. So this one will probably trigger 1.5 times. So I can change the length of these depending on how much I want it to play. How many of those movements I want it to create. Sorry, how much of that filter I want it to do that in, up and down, during that period of time. So I left it at that for the moment. So then what I've done, so that's there. The gain here is to decide how much it goes up and down. So if I do it like this, it'll barely kind of move. But if I want those real low frequencies as the filter's moving, I can bring this up and down. Not entirely decided yet exactly where I kind of want, how much of it, the highs and lows that I want. I've bumped up the resonance on the main filter as well here, so you get this more. And I've set the cutoff here. So when you do this, you have a bit of a play around with the cutoff exactly and where you kind of want it. You know, you might want it a little bit darker. But what I've done here as well to kind of make this interesting throughout each different hit, so every hit's kind of slightly different, is I've come and selected velocity here, and I've also set this to the cutoff at A and B. Now what this allows me to do is that when this hits, basically it's going to go up and down, right, depending on where the center point of this cutoff is. So what you might notice is it goes up, so it's kind of it's changing the center point of the cutoff as it hits this note, right? So it's higher up there than it is, and it goes down again. So this is allowing me to each hit that I go through, I can go up or down with the velocity as well. So it's kind of changing this depending on where this is kind of going and moving up and down, if that makes sense. So if I want the first hit to be really low down, I can do this, or I can bring it up. And I can play around with these, you know, different lengths and different velocities and stuff, and it just gives you that each hit slightly different. Okay, so that's that. Then what I decided to do is I liked the retrig on the actual first oscillator here, but then I decided to introduce another oscillator, a copy of it, and turn the retrig off, because I thought if each hit's getting retrigged, how can I kind of make it a little bit more interesting? So what I decided to do was come into the automation, and what you'll see here is that this hit and this hit, I wanted to kind of make them to not be retrigged. So they've got a bit more of that sort of stereo width there with that. So again, just giving it that little bit of kind of movement there. Now, the way I decided to do that is by when this first one is playing, so the first two, it's going to play this oscillator here. And then when it hits this next one, the volume of this one jumps down, as you'll see here. And then the next oscillator volume jumps up. So it's kind of jumping between two of these, this first oscillator. I'll show you this automation again. So these two are playing this oscillator, and then this one is playing this oscillator with the retrig off. So these two are and then it goes two again, playing with this one, and then the last one with this off. Now, where this can get kind of interesting and where you can kind of create sort of a lot more movement, a lot more sort of character to your acids is, although at first I just copied the oscillator and was using the quarter pulse, this oscillator at the this hit at the last, this third hit and the sixth hit, I can now come in and change the wave of that. Now I'm going to make it really obvious for you first so you can hear it. Is I'm going to actually change it to a noise. It's not what I'm going to use, but it allows me to then now have a bit more control over that last hit. So I could change it to a pulse. Or I could change it back. I originally had it on the same thing. But I realized that I've got way more control over this now, and I can really make some different character to each third and sixth hit there. So I can also go up an octave with this one as well if I wanted. Let's play it all together. Let's try some others. So you can flip around and change it from, like, you know, the quarter pulse to the saw. You could also detune this last one as well. Let's go up an octave so it's a little bit more obvious. So we could detune it and maybe make it let's go down 2 octaves. You can change the stereo width on that. So it's really kind of interesting what you can do with this once you've kind of got something like this set up, and it just kind of creates each hit to sort of be a little bit different to each other. You know, I could come in and play around with obviously the note blends. I could also do something like this at the last one. Is like, let's go really low. You can't really hear it too much there. So you can play around with it until you've got some really kind of nice grooves. I could change the first one if I wanted to as well, and then keep this one the same as it is. Sorry, not keep it. Keep this one the same, but then change this first oscillator. Just play around with different retrigs and stuff until you get a nice sort of groove. Let's try taking one of these up. Let's go back to the quarter pulse. So you can get some really kind of nice movement and just play around with it. I don't have to use it. So obviously this last note is hitting. I might do it so that these two, what have I just done? One sec. I could do it so that this one and this one, you know, you could have them playing at the same time if you wanted, but you can kind of get a bit creative with which ones are using which oscillator as it's done. And that is basically it. Obviously, I'm still working on it, but I just thought I'd show you guys exactly what I was doing here and sort of the different things that you can kind of do, because, you know, we can kind of get a bit stuck in a bit of a rut of doing the same thing over and over again. So hopefully this helps. As I say, there are other sound design courses on the website. If you'd like to check them out, I'll leave a link in the description below. And there is also sound banks for acids as well, if you don't want to make your own acids, which is totally fine as well. So yeah, check it out, guys. And if you haven't also done so, be sure to check out the AM Studios Trance Production community, where you get tips and tricks like this sent directly to your inbox, along with some other exclusive ones to you as well. So thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next one.